And one of the things we're going to talk about now that we understand the color picker and how to select colors, we're going to talk about the canvas. And if you notice here, we have a red ball. And I provided the same graphic if you refer to the exercise files. Okay, so there's your exercise files. There is a folder 8.3, okay, because that's the episode we are. And there is the red ball. So what I'd like for you to do is go ahead and import that red ball into Photoshop. I'll bring this down. And the way to do that, obviously, is you can go to File, Open, and look for those exercise files, or the exercise files folder inside the episode 8.3 folder, and there is the red ball. Go ahead and press Open. I already did that. There you see it's right over there. And once again, as I mentioned before, the canvas of this red ball is really tight. And so what if I wanted to add like a drop shadow? Or what if I wanted to put graphic elements around this red ball? Well, can't really do that when you have a canvas this tight. So we need to expand the white area. So the first thing we got to do is make sure that the background color icon matches that of the white background of the red circle. So what I'm going to do now is obviously I can click on this icon right here. There it is right there. And by doing so, I go back to the default colors. The black color here is the foreground and the white color here is the background. So I'm able to match now the background color of the canvas. Now I can make my adjustments. So I'm going to now refer you to the very top window. I'm going to refer you to the very top menu over here. Click on Image and then click on Canvas Size. And then we have this dialog box over here. And as you can see, that it gives information about the graphic element that we're working on. And you'll notice that the width and the height are the same. This is a perfect square. But you'll also notice that it works in inches. Well, that doesn't have to be the case. If I click on this drop-down menu, you'll notice that I have different options. And I have percent, pixels, centimeters, millimeters, and so forth, whichever is comfortable for you. I like to work in pixels, so I'm going to go ahead and select pixels. And notice that the numbers are now measured in pixels. So what I'm going to do now to expand the canvas is basically increase the numbers. So right now you see it at 263. I'm going to go ahead and increase to 500 for the width and 500 for the height. And I guess it kind of switched to 499. I guess it doesn't matter. Well, I'm going to explain all this stuff in a little bit, but let me show you what happens after I've increased the canvas size. I'm going to press OK, and look at that. Now I've got more room to play with. Okay, so let's go back to the original size, and I do that by clicking on History, and I'll just click on Open, or click on the red ball itself, and here we are back to the original image with the very crammed up canvas. And I'm going to go back to Image and then Canvas Size. And here you'll notice, and I just uncheck this relative option. Now we're back at the original values. Again, I'll go to Pixels here. And say, for instance, I want to decide, well, let's go ahead and have a relative value whereby I want to increase the canvas size by, say, 10. So I'm going to click on Relative, and I'm going to click on 10. Okay, and let's do 10 over here too. So relatively speaking, I'm going to go ahead and increase it by 10 pixels. You know what, let's go ahead and increase it by 30 pixels so we know exactly and see the results. So let's go ahead and click on that. So that's 30 pixels. Well, what if I want to decrease it? I'm going to go click on Image, Canvas, Size again. Now this time, relative, I'm going to select -5. That means I'm going to just decrease it a little bit. I guess it didn't like that. Oh, let me go to pixels. So let's go ahead and decrease it by 5 pixels. Actually, let's go decrease it by 10 pixels. And let's decrease this by 10 pixels and see exactly what the results are. I'm going to press OK. New canvas size smaller than the current canvas by clipping will occur. Okay, great. Proceed. And as you can see, it kind of decreased it a little bit. But that's what relative is for. But I never really use that. So I'm just going to keep this unchecked, and I will manually go ahead and increase or decrease based on the numbers that I know. So once again, I'm going to go back to pixels. Okay, as you can see right here, when I did make those changes, the image kind of got, well, kind of got a little messed up there. So you've got 312 and then you got 283. So, yep, it's different because the original size here, 283 by 283. Well, anyways, it is what it is. Well, this time I'm going to discuss what these arrows stand for. Well, let's go ahead and increase the canvas this time to a whopping 700 pixels. And let's do the same thing with the height, 700 pixels. Now, if I want the arrow pointing to the left, what I'm telling Photoshop to do is put the image, create the canvas at 700 by 700, but to put the image on the upper left. So I'm going to click on that arrow. Notice the dot appears. That tells me that the image will appear on the upper left. Let me show you. Press OK, and look at that. The image is at the upper left. Let me undo that by going to my history panel. Now this time I'm going to move it to the upper right. Okay, so let's go ahead and put it back to pixels. And now I guess it's straight. How about that? 293 by 293. So I'm going to type in 700 by 700 again. Make sure some pixels. This time I'm going to choose the other side, the upper right. Okay, press OK, and look at that. Pretty awesome. I'm going to undo that. Click on Canvas. Okay, once again, pixels. Let's do 700 by 700 again. Okay. This time I'm going to do lower middle. Press OK, and there it is. So that kind of gives you a good idea of how the canvas options work.